Welcome to Pioneer Mindset, a place where we challenge our mindset and address the discomfort in both business and life by finding clarity resulting in bold conviction. I'm your host, Garrett Ruskamp, fifth generation farmer, husband, and father from rural Nebraska. Whether you're navigating frustration from past decisions or worry about the uncertainty you face today in your business, we're going to learn from our struggles and take on new challenges with a resilient mindset. Join me as I share my journey of struggles I faced in agriculture as a farmer and family man. I'm ready to dive into honest conversations to tackle the mindsets surrounding key issues that rural ag business owners face that will ultimately help you gain control, leading to a profitable and sustainable business. Let's adapt to Pioneer Mindset and get to it. Welcome back, everyone, to this week's episode of Pioneer Mindset. So with this week's episode, kind of like a couple of weeks back, I kind of had the same issue to where I was honestly trying to figure out what to talk about. So we are still in the heart of harvest. As I record this, we're looking at October 20th, right? And it's a Monday morning. And prior to this, I was actually out helping Dad get the combine ready, fixing on a couple things. And he's going to go combine beans for the neighbor over here. He was having some issues with his combine. So he's off to go do some custom combine, and hopefully it goes well for him. And my intention was to get back here in the office and to record this episode. But really, we've been, like I said, in the heart of harvest. We've been hammering down, and I haven't had a lot of time to really think about what should I record on this week's episode, right? And trying to figure out what's going to be a good thing to actually talk about that something can be resonate with and provide value with and all that fun stuff. And so with that, I had just different ideas bouncing around my mind. Like, go this route, I go that route, and then all just scatterbrained, right? So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go for a walk. I got back after, like I said, helping Dad, and my brain was kind of sidetracked. It probably wasn't necessarily in the greatest place to sit down and record this to where it was going to be something of value to you as the listener. And so I'm like, I'm going to go for a walk. And I've been actually got myself a weighted vest, training for a ruck that's going to be coming up here in just 2 months down in Kansas at John Soxke's ranch down there. And he's got a ruck going on. And so kind of starting to train up for that. And so I got myself a weighted vest. So I threw that on. I said, let's go for a walk. I'm going to do at least a mile. I ended up doing a mile and a quarter, kind of just around the place. And so went for a walk, and I was like, you know what? I'm hoping I do this, because a lot of times that'll happen if I could just go for a walk, get some fresh air and just clear my brain. Maybe then I can come back into the office here and I can sit down, I can focus, and I can produce a really solid episode for you as the listener, right? And so I did that. And sometimes, I guess, have you ever had that thought in your head where I'm going to go do this and this is the outcome I'm going to get, but that's not how it played out? That's kind of what it was with this. So I went for the walk, and I'm like, well, did it help? Well, it didn't hurt. Let's just put it that way. And so really what happened by the time I got done with that is I was tired, and I was like, well, I'm not necessarily super hyper focused. I didn't have a whole bunch of clarity that came from the walk as to now this is what I'm talking about. Let's knock it out of the park. It wasn't quite so, but it definitely didn't hurt me any. Because I've talked about this phrase before, is sometimes you have to exhaust the body to tame the mind. And that was kind of my intention with that, is to exhaust the body. Then I can tame my mind, and now I can focus on this. Well, it wasn't 100% the case here, but it definitely gave me a chance to kind of get myself out of the mindset I was in, where I was just kind of focused on harvest. Now I can sit down in the office and say, okay, hey, what are we going to talk about? And that's honestly where this leads to, is because I was trying so hard to figure out what to talk about, trying to figure out what's going to resonate with you, trying to figure out what's going to be something of value, right? Trying so hard all the time can be really exhausting. So that's what we're going to talk about in this week's episode, is trying really hard. So a couple weeks back on that episode, I talked about kind of the season that we're currently in. So some of these are kind of bouncing back and forth between what we did talk about previously, but really just in this episode, talk about trying so hard. And that's generally the season that most of us are probably in. But with that, let's just dive into this and trying to be, the best version of ourselves, right? So what does that look like? Trying so hard to be the best Christian, trying to be a Christian that goes to church, trying to be a Christian that has faith, that gets up, does a morning devotional, has a lot of gratitude for all the blessings God has given us, is thankful for everything that we do. We're trying to say our prayers on a consistent basis, and trying to believe in the plan that God has put in front of us, even though we don't see it, trying to believe in it and trying to just have faith in it, trying our best just to be a really good Christian. Okay. Same thing for being a father, trying to be the best father that I can be to my boys, to our kids, trying to not get overwhelmed, trying not to lash out so much, trying not to yell as much, trying not to get so worked up like I did yesterday when we went to the pumpkin patch with the kids and had a lot of fun, but it was really tiring. And the kids were just almost on a whole nother level. They were just so full of energy like they always are. And, you end up getting worked up and you end up just kind of losing your shit, to be honest, right? So guilty of that. And so trying to be the best father, trying to be the best husband, trying to be supportive of Ellen, trying to be respectful of her time. She's helped us a lot during harvest so far, and trying not to abuse that too much, and trying to be, like I said, a loving husband to her, and trying to be understanding of everything that she's had to go through, all the challenges that she faces, trying to be the best farmer that I can, right? Trying to be profitable, trying to make the best decisions possible, trying to raise a good yield, and trying to have faith. And once again, they all kind of bounce off of each other, especially in the heart of harvest, right? Especially throughout the year, throughout the different seasons that we're in. Trying to be the best farmer, trying to have faith in God that even though this field maybe didn't yield as good as it should have, maybe there's a lesson there, right? And so trying to be the best farmer, trying to take care of the equipment so that way, it functions properly, trying to, like I said, keep everything running smoothly, and then trying to be the best business owner, trying to support my clients the best that I can, trying to be there for them, even though we're in a busy season ourselves, trying to be as knowledgeable as possible, and just trying and trying and trying. And as I say this, I don't know about you, but I'm just getting tired talking about this, just about just trying so hard, trying to act and seem like I just have it all together. Have you ever been there? In all of this, right? In all of these different areas, we talk about core four, body being balance and business, body trying to continually fuel my body properly, trying not to put things that could harm my body into my body, right? Trying to do a workout, trying to get up early, trying to get enough rest. And then with the being, trying to, like I said, keep my faith in God and His plan for us, trying to have confidence in what His plan is, and trying to believe in Him and believe in everything that comes our way, and balance, trying to be the best father and husband, like I said just before. And then business, trying to make sure that I can be the best business owner possible and I'm leading with integrity. And that's really what this is all about. I strive my best, I try my best anyways, to lead with integrity. And some of that is being vulnerable. Some of that is being willing to admit that it's really hard, trying so hard, trying to be relatable, trying to enjoy this life. Trying so hard can be really hard, and it can be really tiring, it can be really exhausting. It can be really hard for us to keep on keeping on. And trying to be grateful, in all of this stuff and all of the challenges that we go through and everything we face. In most cases, they're probably first world problems. We got a lot we can be grateful for. And so we're like, well, we got to be grateful. We got to practice gratitude and all that jazz, right? But that itself can be hard, and trying to do all that stuff can be really difficult. And so at the beginning of harvest, actually a couple weeks ago, like I said, on that episode where I talked about kind of the season that we're in, I mentioned on that episode that I've been trying my best to enjoy this harvest. And I'd say the first couple weeks of harvest, because as I record this, we've probably been in it for about a month. So the first couple weeks, I thought I was just doing really good. I was enjoying harvest. It was fun. I was having a good time. Yeah, there was maybe some challenges here and there, but I was just excited to get into harvest. And at this point in time, I'm not saying that I'm not excited for it anymore. I get up every day and I'm like, I should be extremely grateful that I get to go out and combine or get out and be part of the fall harvest. And this is my favorite time of the year and I love it. I should be extremely grateful and so happy and then be able to enjoy it. But sometimes, whether it be just worrying about the next breakdown, worrying about what the next yield's going to be, worrying about if I'm going to get everything accomplished before the winter sets in, worrying about, am I putting enough time into Pioneer Farmer and putting enough focus on those clients? Am I posting enough on social media? Am I getting into the office to record this podcast like we're doing here right now? Am I doing all that stuff? So we're trying so hard to do all the things that we need to do. Like I said, whether it be in the business side of things or any of those other areas, any of the other areas of Core 4, we're just trying so hard. And so back to the gratitude side of things, I'm reminded of a phrase that I try to speak often when it comes to gratitude. And it's the phrase that every day is a holiday and every meal is a feast. And so my Uncle Joe, was that one that actually kind of taught me that or kind of said that years and years ago. And it just stuck with me. because I try to remind myself of that all the time, whether it be with the life flight that flies over our head that goes to, Omaha, that's carrying somebody that's having a really bad day, or maybe somebody whose combine is broke down like our cousins right now and he doesn't know when he's going to get it back, and so he's having a bad day or just had a rough time. You never know what somebody's going through, so we're trying really hard to be grateful, but as we all know, sometimes that's not easy, and it's not easy just to always be constantly trying so hard. It's just not easy, right? I'm just going to put it that way. And I hope that, well, I don't hope, I guess, but to some extent, I'm guessing we've all been there to where just trying so hard gets really tiring and really overwhelming. And I'm not trying to make this a really Debbie Downer episode, like I'm just in a really piss poor place right now mentally. It's just to the point where like we've all been there. We all go through those different seasons. Maybe we're just run down from all the running and gunning lately. Maybe we just haven't had a break. Maybe we haven't taken the time to enjoy ourselves, whatever the case is. And so we've all been there. And so that's where I'm just trying to shed some light on the season that I'm in, shed some light on where you're probably at right now as well, as we're maybe looking at wrapping up harvest by the time this episode comes out. Hopefully we're getting to a point where we can slow down and start to enjoy things again, or start to maybe take a break, take a breath. But in this, even in the heart of the harvest, even in the hardest times, even in the hard season that we're in, because there's always going to be those times coming up. Yes, it's all about grinding to grind through to get through the next thing, but how about we just do our best to enjoy that, right? We talk about a few weeks back, I kind of reference older episodes, but I kind of talk about what do we ultimately want. And part of that is usually we want to be happy. We want to enjoy the things that we have. Another quote that I'm going to go back to on that episode was, the secret to happiness is living moment by moment and to thank God for all that he is in his goodness that he sends us day after day. And so it kind of goes back to being grateful, kind of going back to just living in the moment. And that's part of what I want in all of this and trying so hard. Is when we're trying so hard, we're thinking about the future. We're having probably some anxiety as we focus on the future. And that allows us to not necessarily focus on the moment, focus day in and day out on the moments, and live moment by moment and all those moments that God has given us. And so it's really hard to try all the time and to really be happy in the moment that we're in. And so I'm walking, I guess, however you want to call it, but I'm that right now. That's where I'm at right now. And so whether you're there right now and whether you're not, whether this is something that you can relate to, maybe it's not. Maybe you're just in a completely different world and I'm speaking a foreign language. But to those that can relate to this, I want to kind of just shed some light on it, right? And then, so as we talk about, what can we maybe do? What can we think about to try to shift this so that way we can have a pioneer mindset and work towards something better? So focusing on another previous episode with John Soxie, like I mentioned, he's the rancher that's got the rut coming up here in Northeast Kansas here at the end of December. But one of the episodes that we did here a while back, he was a guest episode on, and he talked a lot about resilience, right? Focusing on resilience. And so I kind of go back to a phrase is, the more hard things that we can do, the more hard things we can do, right? So the more we can be resilient, face our fears, go through these challenges, and try our best to live in the moment and to take a step back at the end of the day. And that's where we're trying to do right now, is maybe taking that step back, right? And acknowledging that we've been trying so hard and we will continue to try so hard. And that's the season that we're in. And that's just the way it's going to be. But at the same time, realizing that it's okay to try so hard and be tired sometimes. It's okay to realize that things are not always going to be easy, right? Give ourselves a little bit of grace in that as well. And so kind of going back to that phrase of every day is a holiday and every meal is a feast. You never know what somebody else is going through. Somebody else might be in the exact same season that you're in. Somebody else might be completely different. Maybe somebody else is fighting something that they cannot control. They don't have any control over, and they just don't know how it's going to play out. Maybe somebody's fighting the challenge of their life right now. And so with that episode, talking about being resilient, how can you build in resilience is doing the hard things so that way you can do more hard things. So continue to push on, continue to do your best to have a resilient mindset. And so with that, the other thing that he talked about was being able to serve and provide value to others, right? So that's where I wanted to go back to that phrase of every day is a holiday and every meal is a feast. Is so how can you provide value to others? And so taking a step back And with all of this that I've talked about, I feel like if you take a step back and you look at this from a 30,000 foot view, it's almost as if we're just constantly focusing on ourselves, really focusing on, I'm trying so hard. I'm trying to be the best Christian. I'm trying to be the best father and husband and farmer. I'm trying to be the best business owner. Yes, for myself, but for others, for my family. Yes, we say it's for our family, but at the end of the day, it's I am trying for generally myself, right? I am pushing hard because there's nobody else that's pushing me to do this other than myself. Maybe you've got some others around you that are pushing you to do things that you don't want to do. That's kind of a side topic there. But in my case, with this episode, I am trying so hard. I'm putting the stress and anxiety on myself. I'm putting the weight and pressure on my shoulders, just like that weighted vest that I was carrying around before. You get really tired carrying all that weight around yourself. So how can we maybe take a step back and shift this? Maybe focus a little bit somewhere else, right? How to maybe focus on pursuing God. I was listening to an episode. It was actually on the Sean Ryan show. It was with a guy named Pete Scobell. Pete Scobell is a Navy SEAL. He's actually a musician. He's a father. He's a Christian. But it wasn't always that way. It wasn't always easy for him. He had a pretty rough upbringing. But at the end of the episode, so valuable episode. It's an 8-hour episode. And I know that sounds like a lot, but it's a lot longer than my episodes are. So I guess be thankful for my shorter episodes here. But on that 8-hour episode, it was right towards the end. I don't want to spoil it, but at the same time, there was so much value right in the end. And as you listen to that entire episode, listen to his story, listen to his background, everything he's been through, you start to resonate with him. And whether you've been through something to that extent or not, or maybe it's just your own set of challenges. We have our own set of challenges, our own cross that we have to bear and carry in this life. And we ask ourselves, what is it all for? And that was kind of the point that he got, is he had kind of taken a step back and had to ask himself, what is this all for? All right. And so as soon as he maybe shifted his focus to where he was now starting to pursue God instead of to pursue everything that he thought he needed to pursue, trying so hard for himself, maybe we can just shift this to pursue God and to pursue God's purpose. And so serving and providing value to others, I think, is a really good way to start doing that. And that's to where I'm trying to shift this. Okay, how can we really get to the point where we're serving and providing value to others? And with that, pursuing God. And so I like to go back to another quote here by Zig Ziglar. You can have everything you want in life if you will just help enough other people get what they want. Okay? So I'll say this one more time. You can have everything you want in life if you will just help enough other people get what they want. Okay? So serving and providing value to others. And this is something that my end goal here with speaking this message to you, to that's listening to this, with the clients that I help with Pioneer Farmer, to everything I share on social media, to everything that all the interactions that I have. As I was trying to keep this in mind about serving and providing value to others, you never know what kind of day others are having. When I was hauling corn at the beginning of harvest or beans or something to the elevator and wait in line, there's other people around you and maybe there's a guy dumping next to you. How can I maybe provide a little value to them? Can I just go say hi, or can I say, ask how harvest is going, and just have that little bit of interaction? Can I do the best I can to be nice to my dad or my wife, my kids? And once again, that goes back to doing your best, and that can be tiring. And even going back to doing your best to serve and provide value to others, it can be tiring. But I think there's it can be really rejuvenating as well, as we do start to provide value to others, as we do start to serve others, and as we do start to pursue God in all that we can do, right? There's going to be really rejuvenating. And yes, it might be tiring at the time, but I feel like it's going to be really refreshing to maybe focus less on ourselves, right? Focusing less on doing my best for myself, for my family. Maybe I can just do my best to pursue God for Him. And so I really hope there's a lot of value in this week's episode. I hope there's something that you could pull away from this. I hope it wasn't tiring listening to this. I hope it was something that you can, like I said, pull from and do your best, something that was relatable, because really at the end of the day, I'm just trying to be relatable, trying to be something that provides value to others, trying to help enough other people get what they want so that, maybe in the long run, I'll get what I want. And that's the goal here, is trying to focus on others, trying to provide value to others, serve others, and with that, go through and do more hard things so I can do more hard things. Build that resilience in myself, build that resilience in yourself as well. as we go about our days, as we go about the rest of harvest, as we go about the rest of the year in 2025. Do your best to build in that resilience, do more hard things so you can do more hard things and deserve and provide value for others. But at the end of the day, also keep on keeping on, going back to trying so hard for all these different areas of our life, for all the different areas of Core 4. We're trying so hard. Keep on keeping on, because this life has a lot of value to it. This life is definitely worth it. Because, side comment here, with that, keep trying so hard, and we're always tired of trying so hard. That's to where if you let that story run into your head on repeat, that's to where we get into depression, anxiety. That's to where we have all these negative thoughts, and to where we start thinking, is this worth it? And to where we get to the point where it's almost a suicidal thought. And I'm not to that point, definitely not to that point. Never. I hope I never get there. And I hope you never get there. But with trying so hard, that's the seriousness of these conversations, is we get to that point. We get beat down so much by trying so hard, and we feel like we don't have anywhere to go. We're tired of trying so hard. That's where if we can maybe shift our focus from maybe trying so hard to how can we just take a step back, maybe do some things you enjoy, but also serve and provide value to others. So, by the way, if you are there, do your best to find some help, whether it be reaching out to me, reaching out to somebody else, or just, like I said, trying to think about providing value to others. Do something nice. Say hi to the guy as you walk into the store. Say hi to the cashier. Say hello. Say, how's your day going? Maybe you see somebody that's having a hard time. Ask if you can help. Maybe you see somebody that has lost a loved one recently. Maybe ask what that loved one was like. Ask what that person that they lost was like. Ask them to share about that. See if they're willing to. So just in any way, shape, or form, let's do the best we can to keep on keeping on, keep on trying, so that way we can ultimately help other people get what they want and get what we want. So that's all I got for this week's episode, and we'll catch you guys next time. Thanks for tagging along with me today as we sharpened our mindsets. If you've gained insight from today's episode, be sure to take a screenshot to share or send this episode to somebody who might also find value in it. For more, follow me on Instagram at Garrett Ruskamp or on Facebook, and join me next time for more conviction through clarity.